All right, countdown ended sooner than I thought. We are officially live. So, welcome to Tiffany and Richard's debate number two, and we are right on time, which is awesome. Despite technical difficulties, we've managed to do it. So, we got a nice, lively debate today. We are going to be discussing specifically. We've decided we're going to discuss a worldwide issue, and then we're going to discuss a federal issue again, which will be the Epstein files. The worldwide issue will be Iran, of course, and then locally we are going to talk about the potential for what the Democrats are calling a millionaire's tax, what I call an income tax, but we'll see how that plays out, and we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff there. So, Tiffany, how are you?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
Doing great. So let's jump right in. So the war in Iran. First, I wanted to get your thoughts on it. What do you think about what's currently happening in Iran right now?
A little torn.
Okay, that's fair.
Um, yeah, I obviously oppose authoritarian regimes.
Mhm.
I obviously oppose protesters being beheaded and horrific violence against women, against individuals at large. I oppose that definitely. I mean, that's. I think that goes without saying for most of us. I don't think any of us are like, "Woo, we love authoritarian regimes."
Yeah, no, I don't think
And I
any of us do.
No, and I think too. I mean, I don't feel like anyone's. I mean, I think when you are part of an authoritarian regime, you are at some level. Certain people are programmed to believe it and believe in it and feel some sort of structured safety within it. And so I think that's why we're seeing a kind of divided over in Iran. Some are mourning this and mourning the Ayatollah and mourning all of this, while some people are like, yeah, hope it's fun in hell. Um, so I think that taking the head guy, the guy at the top, historically for us has done nothing because, and there's been a few times where it's worked. But when it's worked, the system was already imploding. And so we were able to come in and just kind of end that already imploding system and start from the ground up. Here, they're going to have a new guy in his position in a day or two, or however long it takes to revamp that whole thing. And so it feels like we are in or heading into another war that has a lot to resemble Iraq.
Mhm.
And Trump very vocally said we had no business being in Iraq. He said that Trump was, or that Obama was a terrible negotiator and was going to get us into a war with Iran. He has publicly campaigned, I mean, for his 2016 campaign, for his 2025 campaign, he a billion times. There's not even a way to actually quantify it. I've looked every which way I can because it was said so many times and it was on so much merchandise and sweatshirts and hats and scarves and I don't even know what else. No new wars. I will be the president of peace. I do not want I don't want endless wars. It is not our job to police the globe. We want America first. It was just, I mean, MAGA is built on that. Make America great again. Like that was his whole platform. And so now it feels, and I know that I feel like his base frames it as, we're being forced into these conflicts. We were forced to bomb Iran back whenever we did to make sure that they didn't have more nuclear, that they weren't getting closer to a nuclear weapon. But Netanyahu said they've been getting closer to a nuclear weapon for a billion years. It's just within 6 months. It'll be a year, 6 months, a year, and it's never happened. but we had to go and take that out. And then apparently we did, but then now apparently we didn't, because we still have to go and take that out again and not let them get too powerful. And when I look at Obama's
before it becomes
yes,
too much for me to talk about, you've covered a couple of things that I wanted to go into. So one, I mean, you stated at the beginning it was a terrible authoritarian regime, and I agree it was, but that's not a good reason to go to war. At least not for us, right? Because there's a terrible authoritarian regime in Sudan. There's a terrible authoritarian regime in many countries in Africa. There's a terrible authoritarian regime in many countries in Asia. And we're not going to war with them. And the reason is because they are not a geopolitical threat to us or a physical threat to us. The difference with Iran isn't just that they are capable of building nukes, which they are trying. And yes, we did hit their factories with some success. I don't know if it was the complete success Trump says it is, but it certainly slowed them down. But then they got to work right away, rebuilding everything. And it didn't even, it slowed them down, but they were getting right back to work. Russia and China were offering to help them rebuild their nuclear program. So the reason we have to do it again is because they're building it again. And so we wanted to stop them from being able to get a nuke, which we absolutely have to, because this country will use it. They have said
and
they will
fair.
use it.
No, fair. And yet, if we failed the first time and we're just going to go back in and do it the second, I mean, at what point do we just stop doing? I know people thought that the way that Obama went about it was not forceful enough, by just making a deal, and we will have people come check. We'll have regular inspections. You say that, once you get in a surplus of uranium, you'll ship it out, blah, blah, blah. And they said, Trump argued that was absolutely not strong enough, and we needed, but it had some traction as I mean, even the states around, or countries around them said, no, we're checking in, we're looking in on this, like they're actually doing what they said. Now, granted, yeah, if you can have an authoritarian regime that allows you to chop off people's heads for protesting your authority, yes, obviously they're not the most reliably trustworthy people, but we bombed it. Okay, cool. Now they started again. Okay, so we're going to bomb it. And then what stops China and Russia from going, okay, let's do this again? What stops that? I mean, we have to stop doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results.
Well, so we are doing something different this time. And I'll say, and you're right, we have two options here. We have two options, because nothing will stop Russia and China from doing it again. So our two options are annihilate the regime and just completely decimate their ability to rebuild again. And
how's that happen?
Hopefully get them. Well, that happens with one, killing a lot of people. A lot of people are going to have to die. And we've already started. I think the casualty count for Iran is somewhere in the thousands already.
It's not confirmed that we did it, but somebody bombed a school, and we have 150 little schoolgirls dead on a Saturday. So I love seeing that happen.
Well, nobody loves seeing that happen. But what war is awful. But I don't think it was us. I also don't know if it happened.
I do believe it happened, but I've heard from multiple sources that it happened. But there's a lot of people out there on my side of the thing making all kinds of videos that it was us, that we did it. I can't prove that. There's nothing. They don't know. They don't know who did it, but it happened.
Let's just assume, for the sake of argument, it did happen. There's a lot of propaganda, which we saw during the war in Israel, is gone through the roof, especially with these AI videos. I don't know if it happened yet. We'll wait and see. Obviously, it's terrible. Nobody wants to target kids. The thing that we need to look at, though, is, was it us, or did Iran, one of their missiles that are notoriously faulty, hit their own location?
Absolutely. And I'm not, that's why, again, I very carefully make sure when I see something, even if it's to my argument, that I triple check it, because I'm not out here trying to spread propaganda and spread false information and get people riled up over something that isn't true. So yeah, we'll have to look further into it. But not only casualties over there, but the amount of lives that we're going to lose on our side. I mean,
Yep,
it's,
and it's
I
already
mean,
started. We've lost 3 American soldiers in
lost
Kuwait.
three.
Um,
Yeah.
5 are
Uh-huh.
injured, and hopefully they'll recover, but we don't know. We also had an attack in Texas that was inspired by Iran. Islamic guy who
Yes.
very
So now our
favorable to
terrorist
the
threat is
Iranian
up through the
regime.
roof.
Yep, they just shot up a
Mhm.
bar in Texas, killing 2. He himself was killed, so now we have to get
19
ready, and we
injured.
knew that was likely. Say again?
Yeah. And 19 were injured. 19
Yeah.
injured.
So fortunately, the police got him. We have
Yeah.
there's going to be other terrorist attacks for sure. We are in the middle of a war again with militant Islam, and we've decided that we are not going to allow militant Islam to have a nuke. And I agree with that standpoint. And there is very little that would be worse than Iran getting a nuke under their current government. The first thing they're going to target is Israel. They've stated we will wipe Israel off the map as soon as we get this thing. And now some people may say, well, how's that our business? Okay, a couple million Jews are dead. They're not Americans. I guess you could say it's not our business. But then they're building ballistic missiles to reach Europe. They can already reach Israel. Why are they trying to reach the UK and then trying to reach us? They're hoping to get nukes that can hit the United States as well, so they can start making regional demands. And we're just not going to let it happen. And I think Obama tried. He tried the other way. Bush tried. At the height after where how angry we were after 9/11, Bush could have said we're invading Iran, and everyone would have been like, "Sure, do it."
It was a
We were ready to
90%
kill
approval
anyone.
rate for him to go to war. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was 90% approval rate to go to war after 9/11.
but he really wanted to avoid this one, if possible. And Obama tried a different tactic, something nobody thought of. Let's just give them a whole bunch of money and make a deal. And instead of using that money to stimulate their economy and help their people, they used it to accelerate their nuclear program, and they used it to fund Hamas and Hezbollah.
I don't believe
So
that they utilized it. See, that's, I guess, where we disagree. I don't believe that they used it to. I don't. Obama took a different approach on a lot of different things that hadn't been done before. He took a different approach with Cuba. We sanctioned them for 50 years. Nothing's happened. Let's try something different. Took a different approach with Iran. How many administrations have tried to stop that nuclear program and it seemingly hasn't worked? Let's try a different approach. And right or wrong, I just feel like we keep doing 27% of America approve of this war. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of people that are real thrilled
Trump
about
did
it.
not waste time building up support for the war, and it could be to his detriment, especially if it's a long one. What we're used to is people building up to the war, explaining to the American people why we need to go to war, explaining what the threat is, what the mission is. We didn't do that this time, and one positive to come from that was they weren't anticipating the attack. So obviously, so things that we've never done before is start a war without even telling anyone we're about to start a war. 2, bomb a country in broad daylight. 3, do it during Ramadan. And Khomeini didn't think any of those things were going to happen. So that's why he had a meeting with many of his top generals for a discussion of what to do if America decides to go to war. And Israel was able to kill him and everyone else in that room. And Israel did it. We didn't.
I guess this is.
We have constitutional things that say we aren't supposed to kill heads of state. So Israel doesn't have those.
Fair. And I'm not even like, I know a lot of people are like, they're very hard on my side. Like, you have to get constitutional approval to go to war. Lots of administrations don't. Okay. Lots of administrations didn't get congressional approval to go to war. They did have to come back and prove why it was okay to stay there, but they didn't
after 90
get permission
days
to drop the first. Yeah. So I'm not even taking that stance, although a lot on my side are. You have to go back. We can't be hypocritical. If they didn't do it before, why are we holding Trump to a standard we didn't hold another government to? But my point is that So I'm not for blowing any country off the map. I mean, I'm not. If Iran wants to go and obliterate Israel, that's not okay. But you know what else is not okay? Russia obliterating Ukraine. And yet there are, I mean, gosh dang, I heard over the Biden administration 1 billion times. Why are we sending money to them? America first. Why are we sending money to them? They don't need our aid. We need it here. This is ridiculous. Why are we doing this? So what's the difference?
There isn't one.
Why are we?
And there is no difference. So that's a fair point. That's a fair point, and I disagree with the MAGA base on that very deeply. Keeping Russia from taking Ukraine is very important to our national interest, and us providing them with weapons is important. But I'm going to tell you this: you may have led a little bit into my point. Do you know why we can't directly intervene against Russia?
Because Trump's in love with Putin?
Guess again. Because Biden wasn't, right?
No, Biden was not.
So
no, Trump
because they have
really
nukes.
Likes him a lot. I'm sure there's an economic reason.
Well, there's a nuclear
reason.
reason.
And they're close to Alaska, and I get that. I understand that.
So we cannot.
Trump does not.
If we allow a country to have nukes, we basically have made it so that they are no longer. We no longer have the option to remove them conventionally. Unless we have a method.
And I get that. I do. I understand the strategy behind it. What I don't understand is why. I mean, we don't have to literally roll out the red carpet for Putin. Like, not even figuratively, but literally, we do not have to roll out the red carpet for Putin. He is a dictator. He is a horrific human being. And what he's doing to Ukraine is disgusting. And I do feel like we should assist Ukraine. And for that matter, again, why I'm torn with Iran, because I do not think that how they have things going over there is good. I think it needs help. I think it needs to be ground to the ground and built back up. I do. But I mean, we took out Maduro, right? Everybody's happy. We're just yelling in the streets. We got all of this stuff. We're so excited, you know.
I watch as this world just keeps getting smaller.
Oh yeah. So we got a message from Chris Kaplan. Thank you for watching, by the way, Chris. Ukraine is the biggest exporter of neon gas, which gets used in microchip production all over the globe. That's true. If we do not ally with Ukraine, how are we going to get microchip production where it needs to be? You've seen computer prices skyrocket. Even our weapon systems use computers, our airlines, everything we have. To the ally to be able to give us neon gas. So I think what he's saying is we need Ukraine in order to be able to work our computers. There is a lot of rare earths and things that are in Ukraine that it's very important that they remain separate from Russia. We don't want to be dependent on Russia, I think is his point. And it's a good point. And I agree. So,
and I can definitely get on board with that. But I think that my point for, I mean, so we go in, we get Maduro, yay. Everything's great. We're happy. The videos of them dancing in the streets in Venezuela were prefabricated, but they were dancing in the streets in Florida and, multiple different places in the US, right? Okay. So, and nobody's arguing. Maduro's crap human being. He should have been taken. He's horrible. And then we effectively just went, hi guys. And now the vice president is there. Nothing is happening. We have done effectively nothing since we took him. The economy is terrified. Cuba's getting screwed. I mean, so what? Like, we go in, we take the bad guy, we take Saddam Hussein, we take Osama bin Laden, we take Maduro, and then we're like, peace, and we leave these countries in shambles. And so,
they were already in shambles. So now I will say this though. So back to Iran though. The reason of why we went into Iran, Maduro is another subject which we will get into. But
for sure,
let's go over why is it that Iran is a threat directly to the United States? Because I don't think we should be going to war with anybody unless they're a threat to us, or at least one of our NATO allies. Article 5 is also a good reason to go to war. But what have they done to us? So I compiled a little list of some of the things that Iran's done to us over the years. Let's start with when they created their Islamic Revolution and took over, and they kicked the Shah of Iran out. They captured our embassy, which, by the way, is an international no-no. Nobody touches embassies. You don't do that. What you do is you
I
expel
think it's not.
the embassy if you want them gone. Um, so they took our embassy. They kept 52 hostages under Jimmy Carter's regime for 444 days and did not let them go until
Yes, they
Reagan,
did.
the day Reagan took office, because Reagan promised to kill them. So, and Democrats, they hate that fact sometimes, but it's what happened. They orchestrated 2 suicide
And love or hate
bombings.
his politics. I love Reagan.
Yeah, and Jimmy Carter's a good guy. I thought he was a poor president. I wasn't alive at the time, but I didn't think that at the time because I wasn't alive. But
No.
looking back now,
Exactly.
I think he was not the greatest president, but he was a good guy. And then after that, they orchestrated 2 suicide bombings of the American embassy in Lebanon. So they're reaching outside of Iran, killing a total of 40 people, most of which were Americans. Some were Lebanese who were workers at the embassy. Then they funded Hezbollah and turned it into the monster it became. And Hezbollah was the Al Qaeda before Al Qaeda was big. And the Lebanese Hezbollah bombed our Marine barracks in Lebanon, killing 241 United States Marines, 58 French soldiers, and 6 civilians. They provided improvised explosive devices. You remember watching IEDs in Iraq? We would just see it all the time, over and over again, hearing about IEDs, roadside bomb, IEDs. That was all Iran. That was orchestrated by a man named Soleimani, a man that Trump killed and he caught some grief for. But I was the only one who was super excited before people figured out why I was excited. I hated that guy. And then in addition to that, so now we're already at thousands of Americans dead. They've used the proxy forces of Hezbollah, Hamas, Yemeni's Houthi rebels, all funded by Iran. That's where they get their money. To kill thousands of people around the world. The Houthis are shooting actively, and have been until Trump started bombing the dog snot out of them. They were actively shooting at American ships. They've since restarted since we bombed Iran, and shipping, which is a threat. And shooting at our ships is reason enough for us to go after you, because that affects everyone's economy. They were absolutely working on a nuclear weapon with the express intent to destroy Israel and the United States. Every day they would chant "Death to America, death to Israel." That was their mantra. That is what we were going to do. We are going to wipe Israel off the map, and we're going to do as much damage as we can to the United States. So these were not only global implications. It wasn't just us trying to protect our buddy Israel. This was a very personal thing. They have attacked and killed Americans. They are continuing to plot to kill Americans. And finally we said, you know what, Khomeini, we're done. And now he's dead. And I don't miss him. I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad his friends are dead. The guy was absolutely the number one funder of terrorism in the world. There is no close second place. We never should have went into Iraq. We should have gone into Iran. That's where the terrorists were being funded.
And yet, but we wanted to get Hussein, and that was a big deal. And I mean, I remember watching the news every night when we went in and invaded Iraq. And, I think that more of my angst and frustration is not necessarily the principle behind, Iran. They are bad people. The leadership, they are horrific. So I'm not trying to sit here and say they're holy and wonderful and we should love them with all of our hearts. And why are we doing this? And no, they're absolutely horrible. What I think my frustration comes from is the insane double standard. And I often wonder how the true MAGA base keeps their head on that defense, because it's okay. What we're giving to Ukraine is horrible. America first. Okay, so Trump runs 2 campaigns on America first. I'm going to be the president of peace. No new wars. Not our job to police the globe. We need to focus all of our energy on America. That's all I want. People are like, thank God, finally somebody that's not going to go into other countries and take and spend our precious money that we should give into our vets and our homeless and our this and that and all of the things that I heard for years ad nauseum. But now that their guy is doing it, well, then we flip the script. And
that's not entirely true. The MAGA base, many in the MAGA base are openly telling the president they are not happy. There are many in the MAGA base saying this is not America first. I didn't vote for this. And I disagree with them.
I feel like it's the deep. Well, I hate that I agree with Tucker Carlson yet again. It makes me mad. But again, it's the deep. It's the ones that just simply do not. I mean, because I don't consider you in this group because you will find fault where fault is due. But these people that literally think that Trump is essentially the second coming of Jesus himself, there's nothing he can do wrong. He was right. He could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and not lose his base. And so it just is so odd to me that we literally, endless, unquantifiable amounts. President of peace, president of peace, president of peace, no new wars. And not to say that I necessarily disagree with this one, but where's that base? Where's that chant? What are people doing with the merch they bought that said no new wars and president of peace? And is that just kind of going in a back closet for a hot second?
We aren't the only ones who get a vote on war, right? We can vote no war as much as we want, but the other party gets a vote too. And Iran has done. Iran has done everything it can. Yeah, and there are many Republicans right now who are screaming against Trump, and I think they're wrong. Iran is the main threat. It has always been the main bad actor against American interests globally. Now, Russia and China are a problem too, but the main bad actor, the one that's willing to actively go out and kill Americans right now, is Iran. And the reason Russia and China are condemning us attacking Iran is because that was the main bad actor that was keeping us busy and not focusing on them. And now they've lost that. The Houthi rebels that are shooting in Yemen, they've just lost their funding. Hamas, that keeps causing all these problems, they've just lost their funding. And all their missiles that they get, they're not getting anymore.
They're getting funding from Qatar, so they're getting some.
So yes, no, Qatar has been funding some of them. Mostly Qatar has been really guilty of taking care of their leadership, making sure that they can't be touched during times of conflict, which really pisses me off. I think that's, and even Saudi Arabia has called them out. Saudi Arabia has called them out saying, Qatar, you guys are outrageous. And I think we should hold the same standard. The problem is Qatar apparently makes us a ton of money. They've also given us a really nice Air Force base. But I'll tell you what, Qatar may find out. Yeah, Qatar may find out because once Iran is dealt with, we don't need Qatar anymore. There is no major Middle Eastern threat. I have a cat attacking me right now. There is no major Middle Eastern threat that we need them for. And so Qatar may not get away with the things that they're getting away with.
So the people that are rebuilding Iran back up, Russia and China, they're enormous. They are powerhouses globally. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to screw with either one of them. Okay. So we obliterate Iran, right? Okay, let's just say we take it right down to there's no leadership left and we're going to build this great democracy and whatever. What's to stop what's to stop China and Russia from coming in and going, all right, boys, let's rebuild?
We're not going to rebuild a great democracy. That's up to the Iranian people. That's something that we did learn from Iraq. We can't make a democracy for you. You have to
So
do it.
what's
And if
the
you don't want it, that's fine. Let's give it the worst possible scenario, right? Worst possible scenario, the Iranians rise up and say, no, we're going to stay evil. Okay. What you will not have is the ability to strike at Europe, the ability to launch missiles at Israel, and have nukes. That we can control. So that we will
so
deny it.
Russia has nukes. What's to say Russia doesn't just supply them with nukes?
Russia's not that stupid. They don't want them to have actual nukes for real. Russia could give them nukes, but Russia understands that if they hit us with a Russian nuke, Russia is liable and we are launching at Russia. They know
Fair,
this.
but Russia is a powerhouse. So my point is that my confidence in Trump to have a plan is very minimal, almost non-existent. And my
I do believe
confidence
in our
in
Joint
Pete
Chiefs.
Hegseth, like,
Well, the operation to get Maduro was very well executed. And you're right. It wasn't Trump that figured it out. It wasn't Hegseth that figured it out. It was our Joint Chiefs of Staff and our military staff, the Chief of Naval Operations and people like that. They are very good. And they have been. Obama didn't know how to do any of this stuff. He didn't know how to go get Osama. He had good people around him who knew how to go get him.
yes, but
So
also Obama was very intelligent. So I had a lot more faith in him. Trump
Trump is also extremely intelligent in a different way,
well,
maybe.
he was.
But nobody becomes president without a little bit of intelligence. One, they have to know how to read people. Two, they have to know how to make a sales pitch. And three,
he's
they have
great
to.
at that.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm reading a book called The Cult of Trump, and man, he's spot on with those things. He can build a cult base. He is very good at that. It's been proven through his entire growing up life.
Well,
Did you know he
idiots
punched
can't
his
do that.
second grade teacher? Did you know that he punched his second grade teacher and gave him a black eye because he didn't think he knew anything about music? I mean, this has been a long time history of him believing that he is eternally right. And so that's fine. And I have less faith in Hegseth than I probably do in Trump. I think he's an absolute joke. And so I just feel like if I had an idea of an end game, if there was an idea of, so we go in here, we take out the bad people, we take out the nukes, they say we want to continue to be evil, and we have lost thousands of American lives to start back at zero.
The only way we're going to
Maybe
lose
we take
thousands
their
of
nuke.
American lives. Yeah, the only way we're going to lose thousands of American lives is if we put boots on the ground. We haven't done that yet. And if we don't do that, I don't think we're going to lose thousands. Or if they successfully hit and sink a carrier.
What do you think the likelihood of putting boots on the ground is?
Not high. I don't think Trump
Really?
wants to do it. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. We may have special forces. Yeah, we may have special forces on the ground, like a squad of 12 doing one very specific thing and then kicking rocks. But they won't report that anyways. But we are not going to have a massive deployment on the ground, and for a couple of reasons. One is the terrain in Iran is extremely unfavorable to an invasion. Extremely mountainous,
and it's huge.
Yeah, population of 92 million. You got to think at least 30%
This is not
of
Iraq.
them. Yeah, at least 30% of them will be extremely hostile. And so that means we'd have to kill millions of people in order to effectively win, which we can do, but we won't.
Yeah.
We aren't.
And in doing that, they will kill thousands of us.
Yeah, and what will it accomplish? It'll accomplish nothing. The only way that Iran changes is if the people of Iran rise up. Now, we started to see that. Now, if the people of Iran rise up, take their country back, and make it Persia again, and we offer air support and give them arms, that could be successful. And they won't see it as an invasion, right? They'll see, okay, this is our people. They've overthrown our current government. And they'll have our weapons. And yes, they'll have air support. But if we stay in the air and stay off the ground, I think we can make this happen. But let's just assume, because that's a beautiful idea, and I hope it happens. I pray it happens. If it does happen, by the way, Donald Trump gets the win. That is a huge win for Donald Trump if that happens. And nobody will ever take that away from him. I'm going to be like, look, I'm sorry, you guys can't take that from him. That was amazing. But I don't.
Okay, if that happens, if there's no boots on the ground, air only, takes it out, stops their nuclear program entirely, not this, we did it, it's great, it was the best attack ever, and then we have to go back in a couple months and do it again, I will give him a win.
Okay. I do like your Trump. Best attack ever. Some people say the greatest attack. So they love my attack. Nobody's ever attacked like
even
I
did.
The
Iranians thought it was miraculous.
No, nobody has been this harsh to Iran, including Iraq.
Yep. Never. So if this happens, if we do it and we do it completely, and we don't have another mission in 2 months going, well, I guess they built it back again, I will give him a W.
Right. And now let's just assume that's not going to happen. Let's find maybe a middle ground of where we think something might happen. Let's say we end up negotiating peace in a couple of weeks with the Iranian government. The Iranian government makes a concession on nukes, allows inspections, and then we've pretty much eliminated the chance of them having a nuke. Unfortunately, the government stays. We still don't like them. However, they are no longer allowed or capable of being able to strike at the United States or Israel with missiles, and they no longer have a nuclear program. That is an acceptable win, especially if you don't put boots on the ground.
Regular inspections, kind of like what Obama wanted.
Yes, except we can force them now.
Okay.
Inspections are great, but unless you've got something backed up with force, they mean nothing.
And so
if there is no or else, say again.
You mean if by enforce them, do you mean keep a military presence there?
No, but we always have a military presence off their coast. We haven't not had a military presence off their coast since early 1980s. So we've always got one carrier there.
So because Obama was doing inspections and people were, around the country surrounding saying, no, we're checking in. So that happened before too, but Trump didn't like that. That wasn't, he didn't think that
Trump
was.
Trump didn't like that we were also, that we were giving them a ton of money in exchange for that compliance. So he said, I'm not giving you any more money. You're just going to accept the inspections. They said, nope. And so he said, yeah, you will.
Trump's motive, Trump's MO, and it's the MO of so many of our presidents because, it's obviously been, we've had Cuba now under sanctions for 60 years and nothing's changed. Trump's MO, along with so many other presidents, has been, let's see how tight we can squeeze you before you break. Let's screw your economy. Let's take everything we can to the point that eventually you concede. And that approach just has not seemingly historically worked. And
that approach crushed the Soviet Union. That approach won the Cold War.
I have not. Okay, great. I have not read a lot of that because I have been preparing for other things. So we'll talk about that at some point. But my point is that with Iraq, sorry, I lost my train of thought. With taking out heads of state, with trying to just oppress, we're not everything. We're trying to, we take Maduro. Okay, well, now the economy's screwed and everybody's screwed and they're trying to figure out what to do next. We take the Ayatollah. Cool. What's everybody going to do? Okay, great. We're just going to airstrike the crap out of them. And we took Saddam Hussein and then we just, Iraq's nothing's changed. We took Osama bin Laden, nothing's really changed. So I just guess what I appreciated about Obama was that he sat back and thought, okay, these aren't working. These strategies aren't working.
Obama's the one that killed Osama bin Laden.
But I know my point exactly, but I'm saying on a lot of these other conflicts, that didn't. I mean, because then we pulled out and we did nothing. So no, I'm not a big fan of that either. And I wasn't a fan when he went in and pulled all the troops out of Afghanistan as soon as we killed Osama bin Laden, because I was like, well, what's that going to do now? Now we're just leaving everybody in a whole state of like, well, what do we do? So again,
Obama kept us in Afghanistan, and Trump kept us in Afghanistan. It was Biden that pulled us out of Afghanistan, and it was ugly.
Out? What didn't he?
He reduced forces, but we still had the air base, and we still had a lot of troops on the ground in the thousands.
I was going to say Obama did definitely reduce forces. He definitely took quite a bit. He
pulled us out of Iraq.
Maybe there was still some presence there.
Obama got us out of Iraq. For the most part, we still have one base there.
Need to read up.
It's okay. It's a lot. A lot is going on. And it's not your job to be the geopolitical expert of everything that's going on in the military. The only reason I know about this stuff is because I was in it for a while, and I know where these places are. And I know people who are still in. But it's I will say this. I mean, all of our presidents have tried, and very earnestly, to try and keep us safe from terrorists and do it in a way where we don't lose as many of Americans. And the main problem that has stopped us from being able to just be done with the Middle East has always been Iran. So my hope is, at the very least, let's say it's still going to be an Islamic Revolutionary Guard government. At the very least, they will be afraid enough, because I think we've inculcated some fear now, because we've killed the top 40 leaders. Then they appointed a new Ayatollah. He died within 3 hours of his appointment. So hopefully we've created the understanding. Look, we're willing to negotiate, but if you don't, we are totally willing to wipe the table clean and negotiate with the next group.
Okay.
So
on the flip side, if this turns into a boots on the ground war that goes on
it's going to get ugly.
And on and on and on and gets ugly and lasts for another thing, Trump said no more like endless wars. Can we agree that that's not a W?
Yeah, that would not be a W. I'm not going to tell you that it may not be necessary someday. I hope it's not. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I mean it.
And I'm not saying that they can. And I get it. Nuclear weapons from anybody that wishes us ill is terrible. I get that. It's not something that any of us want. And none of us are like, well, Iran should have nuclears too. We want everybody to be fair. Like, we're not idiots on the left. I mean, we might be a little more graceful. But
we can agree that North Korea is crazy, right? North Korea is not a good government. They've got a nuke. Do you know why I'm not?
The reason.
Do you know why I'm not as concerned about them having a nuke?
I know you've told me
because they've got some controls in place. They have some controls in place. One, they don't want to die. North Koreans generally do not want to be killed. Two, China has a pretty good grasp on North Korea. They wouldn't do anything if China said don't do it. And China doesn't want them to launch them. Three, they aren't really. I mean, their biggest ambition is South Korea. They aren't really interested in the United States, beyond the fact that they don't want us in South Korea.
I think that they have a pretty good thing going on with the 100% control.
Yeah, and they they understand that the retaliation would be brutal. Iran has made it very clear: as soon as we get one working, we're launching. That's insane. They don't care if they die. They think they're going to be rewarded in heaven if they die. They look forward to dying in combat.
Of course.
So they are not afraid to launch that nuke. And I'll tell you, what do you think our reaction is going to be? Let's say someone successfully hits one of our cities. Let's say Seattle got hit with a nuclear weapon. Everyone in Seattle is gone. What is America's response?
They nuke the shit out of them, shut the crap out of them.
We are going to kill every man, woman, and child in that country. That is our response. So
Yeah,
it is a benefit to
absolutely.
Iran as well that we stop these psychos from getting a nuke. And
No,
so that's,
absolutely. And again, I'm never arguing for a nuke. I think where my frustration would die, first of all, stop comparing Iran and the issues in the United States. No one, they're not apples to apples. We're not protesting our freedom here. We're not, this is, they are apples and oranges.
I think that was misinterpreted when I posted that. What I was posting was it was a protest against the Iran war. And so I see one
and a lot
group
of people
of
feel that way.
yeah, and I see one group of women who's protesting. Oh my gosh, what we're doing to Iran is terrible, and yet the Iranians on the other side are like, "Thank you so much." And I'm like, "Come on, guys!" Like,
But not all of them are, though. That's the thing,
no,
is that not
the
all of
ones
them
that
are.
support
We
the
have, I mean,
Ayatollah and
for a
yeah, the
for
Iranians
a
that
lot
support
of
the
them, we
Ayatollah
took their
and
foundation away.
well, the Iranians that support the Ayatollah and chant "Death to America," Intifada, Intifada. No, they aren't happy, and I don't care that they're not happy because I don't want them to be happy.
Well, no, but
Um,
also, I think it creates, I mean, if you want to bring it down to its very basic, right? Like, I grew up in a, like, with a very abusive mom, right? So I am under this dome of like horrific abuse. I get out and I go, oh my God, what do I do? I have no shelter. I have no, like, it's terrifying because you're used to this ultimate control. So you need a plan beyond that. So take out the bad guy, take out the administration. That's great. And then say what's going to happen next. Now we're going to help you not have to be in fear for your life every single day because we did this. But instead, now we're going to war and we're bombing and we're launching missiles. And so, yes, I'm sure, no, there's a large group of people that are like, yes, thank God this guy's gone. But if I get bombed in my bed tomorrow, it doesn't really make a difference. We got to have a plan beyond taking out the evil guys to provide them some sort of confidence or comfort that it's going to be okay now that we've done that. They now don't have to worry about death constantly and being beheaded for their beliefs, and they just don't. And yet it feels like we take out, even if we took out 40 of them, we're not assuring them a next step. And that's
well, and
what frustrates
in
me.
order for us to assure them a next step, we'd have to put boots on the ground. And in order for us to assure that a government changes, we have to have people there ready to shoot anyone who tries to shoot at them. And that would be a nightmare. So
my point
our
is
military
that
objective right now is to stop them from being able to hit us. No more missiles that can reach Israel or the United States or Europe, and no nukes. That's it. That's our objective.
And I'm just saying that not everybody in Iran is there kicking up their heels and clog dancing across the street because we took out their administration. There's still a large element of fear over there. And I think that's why a lot of people, now again, there's psychos on both sides. I'm not going to say that there's not psychos out there that are like, oh, every life matters or whatever. I mean, I'm sure there's the gamut. But I think the people more in the middle, at least where I come from, is my heart aches for the people that are left, that are good human beings, that have lived under this authoritarian regime, that have wanted something to be done about it. Now something has been done, but now there's no certainty of safety beyond this. And then I think the other reason and the other way that I want to, I think that's a huge sticking point for, I know me, is I want the same people that are so happy about us going into Iran to come back and say, we were wrong about Ukraine. We should have been there helping.
Yeah, I agree. I think I understand why people are a little bit. This is one argument that I understood. Some people were afraid to support Ukraine for fear that it might spark a nuclear war. That's a reasonable fear. I get it.
That was a small few, though.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, I'm not discounting what you're saying, but if we let Vladimir Putin just run roughshod over Ukraine, and there's with impunity, maybe he's going to start looking at Latvia. Now we have a problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or
no,
Estonia.
He's not. Yeah, he's stoked to take whatever he can. So there were some people, sure, that were like, maybe we piss off Putin and he wants to nuke us. But the majority that I heard, the loudest screams were, how dare Biden put money into something that's not our business? He's taking all of our resources, and they need to stay in America. They need to be here in America. And I want the same.
Well, I think Chris Kaplan explained why it's important to us, and not just let's pretend we don't care about people. Let's pretend our only narcissistic thought is about the geopolitical situation and the economy of America. If it doesn't affect America, I don't care. Chris Kaplan made the argument of why we should care, because Ukraine has a ton of rare earths that we need. And if Russia controls those, Russia controls the rare earths of the world. And part of the reason Donald Trump wanted Greenland is because that's like one of the only other places where we can find some of those things. And right now it's not being dug up. And so Trump figured, well, okay, if Russia by chance does take Ukraine, at least we have Greenland.
But I feel like he's dove in on that, and then he said he was sending the hospital boats, but we don't actually have hospital boats that are in the water that are functional. And then it was some disease in Greenland, and they have universal health care, and then he moved on. So I haven't heard about Greenland in a hot minute.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was poorly handled. So I think had the president, and I'm going to say this, I think Obama could have gotten us Greenland. And I think the way he could have done it is by talking, because he was a very good speaker. I will not question that Obama was a wonderful speaker.
He was.
And had he understood and laid out, this is why we have a stake in Greenland. This is how it's going to help the United States. This is how it's going to help our NATO allies and the people of Greenland. I think Obama might have been able to explain it.
But fair, but also, I mean, Greenland has universal health care. They are statistically one of the happiest nations for people living there. I know
53,000 people in Greenland. Of course, they have universal health care. If one person dies, that's like 20% of your population.
Canada does.
Obviously, that math is wrong.
But I'm just like no, seriously. When I have a client that can go to Prague or Iceland, break their hip, have emergency surgery, end up in a very cushy private room in Iceland where they can see the northern lights at night, and without a drop of insurance, it's $4,000. You're not going to.
Glenn Kincaid says Obama is going to prison. Dub. Well, Glenn, I wasn't saying I appreciated. I wasn't defending Obama. I was saying he was a good speaker. I said he was a good speaker, Glenn. Gosh, I'm just saying he was an eloquent speaker.
He was a very eloquent speaker.
An eloquent speaker.
Dum Dum is the nicest thing I've been called recently, though, so I'll take it.
I think he was talking to me.
No, I mean, either way.
I was saying he was a good speaker, Glenn.
But my point with we work with Greenland, and so maybe Obama, instead of taking them, would have maybe wanted to explore getting their rare earth minerals and digging, and let's see if we can't utilize these things. Trump is the only one that seemingly just wants, Trump and Putin want to possess, and Xi Jinping, possess everything. Like, you can't just work with them. You can't just have bases there and use their minerals and we work together. He just has to own it. We want Canada as the 51st state, and we want Greenland as the 52nd. And it's just work with people. We don't have to own everything.
Yeah. Well, this is a president that wants to be remembered as a president that expanded America. And I don't hate that about him. I wish he would talk a little more, but I like a president that wants what's best for America. And he's not ashamed to say it. He's not ashamed to say, yeah, of course I want Greenland added to America. Of course I want additional stuff.
But I don't think that benefits America in any way. I think we can work with people, and that makes us look more credible on the national space.
And I think ultimately that's what's happening. I think President Trump, he's explained with Greenland that we're going to get what we want, and we aren't going to own it for now. But he is not the first president who tried to get it. He's not the second. He's not the third. He's not the fourth. So we've been.
Who else was in line for this sweet little place?
It's been a while, but Roosevelt did get it, and then he gave it back. And there was a lot of grief. He got a lot of grief for giving it back. A lot of people said, "You're an idiot." Or wait, no, Roosevelt did get it. Truman gave it back. Roosevelt died in office, unfortunately, and before his term was over. And yeah, after the war, Truman gave Greenland back to Denmark. And the reason that we got it was because Denmark, as you know, was invaded very quickly in March of 1940 by the Nazis. The fight lasted 6 hours, and the Germans took Denmark, and Greenland declared independence from Denmark, saying we are not under Germany's control. And we agreed to take over the patrol of Greenland, and then we declared it ours so that the Nazis couldn't take it. And so we were in charge of patrolling Greenland. We were in charge of the defense of Greenland. And then after the war, we gave it back.
So what it looks like is that during World War II, after Germany occupied Denmark, the U.S. under FDR took control of Greenland's defense with Danish diplomatic consent via agreement signed by Danish envoy, largely to prevent a German foothold there. But this was a wartime defense arrangement, not ownership. And sovereignty still legally remained Danish.
Danish sovereignty didn't even remain Danish. Come on.
Just reading facts, my friend. I'm not reading.
Hours. Yeah, but the Danish gave up their sovereignty in 6 hours. So, but yes, the government that was exiled.
Greenland was never owned by the United States.
That's what the Danish would say. I'm telling you right now, the United States had custody of Greenland. We had custody of Greenland.
You find me something factual on that, and I will believe it.
Denmark was controlled. You read it. Denmark was controlled by the Nazis, so they had no sovereignty.
No,
so Greenland was under
there to
our
prevent
control.
It. So we had a wartime agreement to put presence there, and then after the war, it was declared that it was no longer to be theirs.
We gave it
no longer
back.
To be ours.
We gave it back. Basically, what I said.
Signed and said we would at the beginning.
Yeah, we could have decided not to.
Well, that would have been a breach of the contract that we signed.
Which I think would have been reasonable considering we just saved your entire country from the Nazi Gestapo.
Well, we promised them that they could have it back.
Yes, and we kept our.
Truman, he attempt. He offered them $100 million in gold to purchase Greenland, and Denmark refused the offer outright. So the U.S. never owned Greenland. It merely secured military access. Denmark retained sovereignty.
Well, so that's two presidents that dealt with it. There was others before them. And yes, they said
and
no.
I'm not trying to say that.
But the United States at the time was the only country with a nuke. We were the only country that was a superpower. We were the only country that could have done anything. And we could have just said, okay, fine, don't take 100 million or in gold. Just we'll keep it. Yeah. You let us know if you want us to pay you or not.
No, you are correct, though, in that William Seward under President Lincoln and Andrew Johnson discussed the idea of buying Greenland. 1910, President Taft. Diplomats entertained planning a possible territorial swap. Greenland rejected it, or Denmark rejected it. Harry Truman. FDR did the wartime, we'll come protect you, but then we'll give you back. And then Trump. So you are correct. It has been thrown around many times before.
Yeah. What, did you think I was lying?
I always got to keep you in check, man. I know you would keep me in check.
Yeah, but yeah, no, he's not the first president who's discussed it. We've wanted it for a long time, and I hope someday. And I'll tell you, this saying as an American, I hope we get it. I hope we get it the right way. I hope people come to their senses and realize that America is the greatest nation on earth, and they're lucky to be here. Um,
We are so not the greatest nation.
well, yes, we are.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
tell me what's better. Tell me one that's better. Just one.
Oh my gosh. They all have pros and cons. I'm not saying there's anybody that's perfect, right? But I did
But
just
who's
see
better?
something recently because as far as, well, I'd live just about anywhere else if I could pull up ties right now, but I can't, unfortunately. There was a couple who did a whole, so his wife is an immigrant and he's an American citizen, but now they've done everything they can to get her a green card. She's a doctor, but they can't do it. They won't give them out. So they know they're going to have to pull up out of America and they're going to have to go somewhere else. So they took every country that they would consider living in and they put them into a metric. Now, whether or not this is official science or not, okay,
It's not.
but based on best case, what?
Oh, nothing. Keep going.
It's not science, but I'm just telling you, just word on the street, okay? And I'd be willing to do some more research into this, but as far as affordable housing, schooling for children, best place to raise children, healthcare affordability, job availability for a physician of her stature, the ability for him to come in under her because they want her for her physician's license, and so he could come in and live there, was Germany.
Germany. So Germany is the greatest country in the world.
I'm not
How
saying
the
they're
tide
the
has
greatest country in the
turned,
world. I'm just
Tiffany.
saying America.
How the tide has turned. So you're
America
telling me we were wrong in
certainly-
1939 this whole time?
If Hitler was still there, it's not. But they have changed their ways, my friend. It is not Hitler's
I
Germany
understand
anymore.
that. No.
I'm just saying that when I have clients who ration their medication and who cannot afford to go to the doctor and who cry on the phone because they can't get appointments and who are losing their health care, and I mean, we are not killing it.
No, I understand. America. I'm not telling you America's perfect. America has a lot of problems. We have a great deal of problems. But all the countries that you might have named to me, Germany included, I would have said, okay, great. Now, how would they be doing if America wasn't there to protect them? And the answer is they'd be Russia.
It doesn't matter.
It kind of does. I mean, like,
fair enough. Fair enough. But America, as it sits right now today, we have one of the lowest happiness ratings as for our civilians.
Well, that's because, I'm going to be honest. Democrats and Republicans hate each other so much, they're making themselves upset in a country that's really not bad. I mean, things are good. Like, I can go anywhere I want. I can. Like, we create in this country so much drama that doesn't really exist. Like, Democrats are not ruining my life.
To a point, because
so, I mean,
insane Republicans aren't ruining mine. But it is a choice. Also, I'm white. So I feel as though I definitely do not have any struggles in the United States because I am white with green eyes. I don't have any worry. I don't have a worry in the world. I think that's different.
Car crashes are a problem. I mean, like,
yeah.
Look, I think this is a great country to be, no matter what race, religion, or creed you have. It just like any other country, bad things can happen to you. Just like any other country, there are people out there who are going to be bigoted against you. But you can be any color you want and still accomplish amazing things in this country. So there are very few countries where you can just walk in.
This could be a conversation for another podcast because we could go back and forth.
Well, speaking of this country, since we're pivoting from Iran, let's talk about Washington State's new You would call it a millionaire's tax. I would call it an income tax. SB,
Yep.
well, we can all agree, we can call it SB 6346, which has passed the Senate, is going to the House to be negotiated on, and it's going to be, well, I'll let you speak on it. I'll let you speak first. By the way, Adam Shelter says Trump is awesome. Thank you, Adam.
That's awesome. Also, Obama's going to prison.
That was Glenn Kincaid.
Here's
You said
my
that.
thoughts. I know. I do not. I believe we pay a lot of taxes in Washington. I get that. Our gas is some of the highest in the nation because of the gas tax. We have, I mean, there's a tax on everything. And I get that. And that's a huge expense. What makes me mad about Washington in general and why I it's like the school levy. There's nothing better on the table. And so I vote for what's presented at the time. Washington has one of the most regressive tax models in the nation. And that is a huge problem for me. I hate that. I make more. Tax me more. Yes. Am I in a higher tax bracket? Sure. But sales tax and gas tax and all of those things affect the lower to middle class human beings way more than they do me. And so I wish that Washington would do a complete revamp their constitution, make it an income tax, take some of the other taxes away, take some of the gas tax. And I know once you have a tax, it's hard to get them to go away. But in my perfect panacea of a world, we revamp the entire system because it is so frustrating to know that the top 1% of the United States people pay less taxes than the rest. That is, we keep giving tax breaks to billionaires. We keep giving tax breaks to millionaires. Why can we not try to get the lower to middle class a break of some sort? So I get it. The millionaire's tax is a very slippery slope to an income tax. And so the only reason the capital gains tax was able to pass, and even though challenged, Washington won in court because it was framed in a way that it was not an income tax. But I feel like I will always vote to tax the higher earners more because $200 to some people is make or break. I mean, $200 is something that could buy them groceries, baby formula, shoes for their kids. I spend $200 a month to make sure I can get a blowout at the salon whenever I want. Like, tax me more, make life harder on me because it affects me less, and give the lower to middle class a break. So, although I do not, with my whole chest, say the millionaire's tax is the best thing that's ever been created, and we should for sure just, 10 toes down, believe in it. I'm saying it's the only thing on the table. And I'm really, really frustrated that we have such a regressive tax system in Washington. And when I see other countries or other states that have implemented the millionaire's tax, they've already had some form of income tax in place. So that's why this is so controversial here. It has stuck with the millionaires. It hasn't continually gone down to the lower earners. But I think as a whole, Washington needs an entire scrap it all and redo it. And so those are my thoughts.
Well, scrap it all and redo it's very unlikely because and changing the Constitution is just about impossible, as you know. The millionaire's tax, you're right, it hasn't changed yet because they haven't passed it yet. What the millionaire's tax is to me, and I think anyone who's being honest on either side of the issue knows, this is the attempt. Let's get a tax on the millionaires, and get an income tax on the books. Let's get it approved by the Supreme Court. And they've already shown in the Senate, because Republicans attempted to put in an amendment saying, okay, let's amend this bill to where it can only affect millionaires. It will only affect income over $1 million in a year. The Democrats said, no way. They said under no circumstances is that amendment coming through. Because what it is they're trying to get a tax that people can kind of get behind. Yeah, who cares about millionaires? And then once they get that approved through the Supreme Court, now we have an income tax and it's part of our Constitution. Or it's at least been interpreted as part of our Constitution, because the Constitution doesn't explicitly say that you cannot have an income tax. It was a decision that was made back in the 1930s that ultimately interpreted that we can't have one. But if it gets interpreted differently, because a millionaire's tax gets through and the Supreme Court, which is very left, upholds it, now we have an income tax, and then they can say, okay, now we're taxing freaking everything. If you can afford French fries, you're paying an income tax. And that is our future, because Democrats, and this is the worst part about Democrats, Republicans have problems too, but the worst thing about Democrats is you can never satiate their need for your money. They never have enough of your taxes.
And I think that's because, because, I looked into, hold on a second here. So, like, I see a lot of pushback on the gas tax, right? And people in Idaho, oh God, look at this tax. Look at how cheap gas is over here. We live in a state that is, love it or hate it, very, very pro belief in climate change. And so we pay for cleaner gas. We pay for different formulas in the summer than we do in the winter, that burn different. And so when you look at the effect that has on our clean air, and you look at somebody like Idaho who does not do that, and the effect that it has on their clean air, it's enough for me to go, yeah, cool. I pay $100 a week to fill up my 4Runner. Sucks, but it is what it is. I am all for taxes. And I know I've been called every name in the book. I got called a skank last week. That was hilarious.
What, because you support taxes?
Because, yeah, I'm an idiot. How dare I want to actually have more, like, I think his exact words were, cry about it, skank. Anyways, I'm going to make it. I think it's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, people are freaking hostile. It's a hostile environment in politics today.
Yeah, I think it's the funniest thing. I haven't heard skank in a minute. But I feel like I never mind being taxed if there's even a chance that programs to help people get a little bit of a leg up could get funded. Now,
okay. But do you think that government has ever been better at spending money than we have? Do you think government has a better idea for how to spend your money? You have done more than government has done for Camino Island by yourself with your Camino pantry. That money spent on, I think money invested in you is better. I think $1 on your Camino pantry has more of an impact for people's lives than $20 at any government funded program.
And I get that. And if people would just donate to programs like that on their own, then that's fine. But do you know how many people out there believe? But you know how many people out there that believe that the people that come to my pantry are deadbeats? I have been told I support deadbeats a billion times.
We are the most generous country in the world, by far.
I'm not saying we're not the most generous country in the world. I'm just saying that the amount of people that it's just the same thing as far as taxes that go to support our roads or go to support. Somebody told me recently, well, why don't you donate to support our roads if you like taxes so much? Great. So my $500 is going to take care of all of the road issues in Camino Island? No.
Obviously roads have to be, some taxes have to be paid. And I understand that. I'm not advocating against all taxes.
Like people think that everybody on Medicaid is a fraud. It's less than 1%. My mom being probably that 1%. But
Dang.
you have. Oh yeah, no,
Boom.
seriously. She has made defrauding the government a full-time job since I was 14, and it's mainly just because God told her she wasn't supposed to work. So believe me, I hate seeing that being abused. Believe me, to my core, it makes me nuts. But we have to force people to pay for things they don't agree with, or none of it would be funded. I can give as much as I could physically give. Let's say I could give $100,000 a year in Washington State to help support people who are disabled and on Medicaid, who don't have either a caregiver and they are relying on Medicaid to take care of their sick child. It wouldn't even make a dent. And so we have to force people to.
I agree. We have to force people to pay some taxes. I mean, we need a military, right? Missiles aren't cheap.
No.
We need to have roads. We need police, firefighters, paramedics. But a lot of things can be done that are government controlled right now without the government. And for example, your Camino pantry, I think, is better than, what do you call it? The place where you go get food.
Food bank.
Thank you.
The Stanley Camino food bank.
Yes, I think it works even better.
And the reason it works is because it's on my private property, and I have a belief that you should never, ever have to not be able to get food 24 hours a day. And I do take a risk at that. People come up my driveway at 2 a.m. And it's a little nerve-wracking sometimes, but I don't believe that food should, if you have it there, it should be accessible. And so the funding that the food bank gets, they have buying power that I don't have. And so I feel like we work together very well. But we have to, I mean, and if you want to go on the other side of things and you want to talk about the extreme leftists that are like, we don't need cops, we don't need, we don't like cops, we don't like this government program. I mean, so you have to force people to pay for things that they don't believe in, or we would be grossly underfunded in every area.
Yeah, people who don't want police and don't want any government at all, they are not leftists. They are the far right. That is an anarchist. Right means smaller government. Left means bigger government. So the extreme of the left would be an authoritarian government. And the extreme of the right is we don't have a government. We're freaking Somalia.
Okay, but that has statistically been true. But with the Trump administration, I think it's very much flipped.
Well, I think America.
I think that
it has gone further to bigger government over the last couple of years, to its own detriment, because things aren't getting a whole lot better with bigger government. For example, education has not improved since the government took over.
And yet we have to have public schools. And we have to have the ability for people to go to, and I wouldn't send my daughter to private school. I can afford to send my daughter to private school. I would never, ever do it. I went to private school. And I would never do that to her in a million years.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the school. There are some schools that are terrible. Yeah.
And mainly just because I have given my daughter the complete and utter freedom to believe what she wants. And as of right now, she's pretty agnostic. So, although I am religious and I believe in God, and I am, I hate the word Christian because it's gotten such a negative connotation, but I
don't think it does.
Believes that she. I never tell people that I'm a Christian, ever.
I do.
And I let people get to know me. And then every once in a while it comes out that I believe in, and they're like, oh my God, but you're so kind. And you're not like shoving it down my throat. And
a lot of Christians are kind.
Well, it's gotten a real bad name as of late. And that is why my daughter is agnostic. She has seen so much hate from the religious side of things. I don't take her to church. She doesn't see it from me.
I think a lot of people misconstrue or they become confused They think judgment is equals hate. There is a lot of judgment in Christianity. There is a
ton.
lot. Yeah.
And a lot of hate.
But that doesn't necessarily
as
equal
well.
hate.
But
Like,
there's
for
a lot of
example,
both.
I have not lived the perfect Christian lifestyle throughout my life because I don't have the same wife I had the first time. I received
Now
a
you're going to hell.
ton of I received a ton of judgment. They let me know you are 100% in the wrong. And you know, but they didn't say I was going to hell. They said you got to fix this. I mean, you got to fix yourself.
Oh
You
no,
can't
I am.
Yeah, you cannot
I'm
continue to
kidding.
do. I know, but they what they told me is you can't continue to do what you're doing right now, and they weren't
And that's
wrong.
fair. No.
So,
And maybe this is another topic for another week, but I absolutely have not told anybody that I belong to any sort of organized religion in many, many, many years, and I have received so much more love and kindness and acceptance towards a type of belief in God or Jesus when I eventually let them know, because the overwhelming response is, wow, but you're just kind and like you just help people out. And I mean, oh wow, I guess I never would have taken you for. And so that I think that we need to focus a little more on living like Jesus and not talking about it.
well, yeah, no, we have. So Christianity started out as a very, very, very kind religion. The people.
If you go way back, it wasn't.
No, I mean, if you go way, way, way back to the beginning, it was. If you go back to when, you know, it came to Europe and then Europe took over and Christianity became the main religion, I think that's when you start seeing, oh, a little hostile.
It's been the start of a lot of wars.
Yes.
And
but in the very beginning,
in
the very beginning, it wasn't in power anywhere. It was just a bunch of outsiders who were getting persecuted by Romans.
And I think this would be a very good conversation for another podcast, because
I agree, and because we have to wrap up because we've been doing this for a while. But I will say this: so let's just real quick. Our stances on the war. Your stance on Iran is torn. Mine is for now. While using just air power, I am for. And then the millionaire / income tax, you are.
I am. If it was on a ballot, I would vote yes, because there is nothing else on the table to try to even out the tax system.
Ew. No, yeah, I would vote no. I'm very much against it. I think it would be better. Just let's not play games with the Constitution. If you want to raise taxes, just raise the ones we already got.
Yeah, but that affects everybody. I don't want to affect everybody. I don't want to affect the lower to middle class.
The income tax will affect everyone. It will happen.
But they already have a millionaire's tax in many other states, and it hasn't gone below the million.
That's not true. Every state that has an income tax, everybody pays an income or a tax.
No, the millionaire's tax that is higher than the rest of the taxes. The millionaire's tax that is like what, 9.9% or something like that. The highest amount of the one where they tax the millionaires more. They have not trickled that down. Yes, they already have income tax, but it has not trickled down.
But we have no income tax. And now we're talking about making one. Yeah.
I would love for there to be an across the board tax reform. And I think an income tax is we have such a regressive tax system. Why is that okay? Why are we all just super cool with that?
Because it's one of the few good things about Washington State, money-wise, is we don't have an income tax. I mean,
I'm not saying that I'm not saying that income tax is great. I'm just saying, can we revamp to just give the little guy a little bit of a leg up?
What is it that we've been spending all this new money on? Our expenditures have grown significantly in Washington. How is it that the little guys are not getting a leg up? because we're spending a heck of a lot of money on it. Once again, proving that government is not very good at spending our money. If I was to give you, Tiffany, the pantry, $5 million, what could you do with it?
Well, there wouldn't be any homeless anywhere near us. I would, if I see. Here's the thing: is if I had Elon Musk money, there wouldn't be a single homeless person in our country. I would have.
Elon Musk doesn't have that kind of money.
I mean, I would do everything in my power to get anybody into treatment. I mean, you see people that are walking around on the streets and they approach people and they want to. Can you imagine being on the streets of Everett? Okay, you made some horrifically poor choices. Okay, you've gotten yourself, for whatever reason, you are addicted to drugs. You're out there. You have no more family that believes a word you say. You are homeless. You are strung out. You have no money. You are always just begging for that next high, because if you don't get it, it feels like the bones are going to break out of your body. You're sleeping on cold cement. You have no phone. You have nothing. And one day you go, I want help. I want to change this. Mm-hmm. Where do you even begin?
Any single shelter or government building. We have free.
They're all packed. They're packed.
Okay. So that just goes to show you the government's not very good at this. We don't have, we spend all this money on this and we can't even help these people. So what we need to do is trust in people like you again. Because if I was to give you $5 million, I know Camino Island itself would change. The whole island would change. The Camino Pantry, things would just get better. You know why? Because there's no bureaucratic red tape. Whereas if I give it to the food bank, I would not notice a difference.
Yeah, no, and that's why I won't become a 501c3, and I get a lot of flack for that. But I don't want to have to run through a board if I know that there's a kid that has no shoes, or if there is a family that desperately needs diapers, or another family who is 2 months behind on their rent. And so, and so I see the point of keeping government out of things. The problem is there's not anyone that's going to give my pantry $5 million. So we need the food bank, and we need this funding.
Let's try. I'm not advocating that we get rid of the food bank. What I am saying is we need to stop creating new government programs for everything that we find. That's wrong. And we need to start trying to attack it as citizens. Like, hey, we have this problem.
Can you help?
And
I can definitely get behind that.
The government sucks at everything.
I can totally get behind that.
Things. The government is excellent at two things, which is why the military is the only government entity that's almost universally respected. They're good at breaking stuff, and they're good at killing people. And that's the military's job. So they're the only ones who are doing their job right in government. And
I could get behind getting people to take care of their own if there wasn't so many people that believed that if you got in a bad spot, it's your own fault and it sucks to be you. And that is a very large amount of
who does a great deal of work for the poor and for people who've gotten themselves in a bad spot and tries to help uplift them? Christian churches.
I 100%, I will send you all of this. They did an experiment recently. This girl made a whole social media page on it where she blind called churches and said, I don't know what to do. I have a baby. She's 2 months old, that a baby crying in the background. She's so hungry and I ran out of formula. Is there any way I could just get a can? I'll come to you. Is there anything I can do? And the majority of them said, you're not a member. I'm sorry. We can't help you. We have to direct our resources to our members. There was one pastor who became extremely viral, didn't even mean to, but I think he's called the Pawpaw Pastor now. She called him and he said, well, okay. Okay, well, where are you? And like, what kind of formula do you need? Like, does it have to be a special kind? And he's like, because I can go get some. I have some money in my pocket and I can go get some. And eventually she said, I was just doing an experiment, and honestly, I can't. And he just started crying, and he said, why are babies going hungry? They shouldn't. And I don't care if I have to use the last $20 in my pocket. I will fund this. So that's the thing, is that if churches were taking care of the masses, for sure, that would be helpful. But time and time and time again, it's been proven they're going to turn you away. You're not a member. You're not, it's becoming more of an issue. And I wish that churches,
the churches
could go back.
The churches have degraded significantly, and I'm going to tell you, some of that degradation came from your team. They didn't like the judgmental old church that used to help people a lot. Now, but there are still many churches. Like, for example, my church helps people all the time. Somebody called us and said, I need formula. I have so many people in my church who would just be like, yeah, we're on it.
And that's great, but you're not the majority.
Maybe. I don't know if that case study was an official scientific study, but yeah, what you're saying does hurt me. I mean, it's sad that there are some churches like that. They should do everything in their power to try and help babies.
It for sure was a small control group, but it's not. I do believe it's indicative of a much bigger issue.
I agree. But anyway, that's all the time we have because we went on till 7:30. This was fun. We could do this for another 2 hours, and I look forward to next week. We'll do this again.
Yes, and next week we're hitting Epstien because I'm not going to stop talking about it.
That's fine. We hit it last week. It's not like we ignored it. The problem was we agreed on it, so it wasn't a whole lot of discussion.
No, I think that we might start to hit some disagreement points, though.
Okay, let's try and find one. Unless you tell me I don't think we should release this, then I don't think we're going to find one. But
I think that if people are going to believe in Jesus and he is listed in the Bible, let's just say, depending on the version of the Bible,
I know, and Trump's been listed 5,000 times, so obviously he's guilty.
As a direct mention, okay, hold on. And as an indirect mention, at least 38,000. We haven't even released the full 3 million that we need to. Okay. We deposed Bill Clinton, which I don't think is wrong, but he is mentioned way less than Trump. There is now a girl that has come out and said that as a 13, 14-year-old, and it's a document that is listed out in the list of documents that are supposed to be there, but it's missing. It has been taken out. And she said this document is not correct because at 13, 14, and I'm not going to go into detail because it's gross, but I was forced to do some very inappropriate things.
Yeah, so apparently he tried to get her to do something inappropriate, and then she rejected the advances and he punched her in the head is what was alleged. Which, if true, is horrific. But
and so let's depose it. Let's bring him in.
We have to find some level of proof, at least something that proves some wrongdoing. An allegation is not proof.
5,000. So
John Stewart was mentioned in the Epstein files, and he didn't do anything wrong.
Joe Rogan as well. They wanted him to go and meet Epstein. He did a Google search and he said disgusting. No, he's mentioned in the Epstein files, but they're not mentioned 5,000 times. They already deposed. They deposed Hillary Clinton. She's not mentioned once.
Well, yeah, but she's Hillary Clinton.
Okay, that's a double standard. She's not mentioned once. They're deposing her.
The difference between Bill and Hillary, the reason Hillary is being deposed is because she's a woman, and naturally we consider women more guilty than men.
Of course, but she's not mentioned once. So if we're going to depose somebody that's not mentioned once, and we're not going to depose somebody that's mentioned at least 5,000 times directly by name, there is a double standard there, and I feel very frustrated by that. And if he says he is fully exonerated one more time, I'm throwing my TV across my lawn.
Well, he is perhaps the most exonerated person. The only person who might be more exonerated is Jesus. Jesus might be more.
Oh my God. You are rage baiting me in a way that is going to win because you're going to see fire just explode from my ears.
All right.
Anyways,
Well,
I know we don't have a lot of time, but
yeah. All right. Well, it's been great, and we'll catch up next week, and I will talk to you soon.
all right. Take care.
And I got a kid tackling me now. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yep. All right. Bye.